Good Moed Rabbi Sai. We have a few geschmacky guests today. Shkoyach everybody for coming. Gutn Moed. Today, well, I'm not going to say the Spheres Ha'omer, but yesterday was 2 days in Ha'omer. Ayom Shnei Yomim Ba'omer. This Shamshi Szlafrok, he ran into the CEO at Yam HaMelech, he says. It is. And over here we have 2 chevra learning. We'll put the sound in later, but they're at some sort of kids thing, looks like. Unless it's a hotel with a theme. It looks like I hear noise in the background. Kids are playing over there. So Mela, I'm thinking, oh yeah. Look at the floor. Kids are having a great time, and they're learning the daf on the side. Beautiful. Here, you guys can see. What else do we have? And this was today. I gave shir from my house in Chicago live. It was 9 o'clock in Israel, 9 p.m. The chevra in the Beis Medrash. We patched them. Well, we didn't really patch them in. Okay, what's noch do we have today? We're gonna go straight to the sponsors. The mesechta sponsor anonymous Hatzlacha B'Parnasa is Yisroel Cherns in honor of my chavrisa Shmueli Unger, Szlafrok Family, in memory of their uncle Simmy Schaer. Simcha Yisrael ben Naftali Tzvi A anonymous. May our learning bring us closer to one another and to Hashem. Monthly sponsors Hatzlacha B'Parnasa, Birevach for Baruch, Nissim ben Shoshana Leah, Yoni Klestzick, Refuah Shelamah, Yehudit Brayna Rivka. Kollel sponsors. Thank you to Rebelli's wife, kids, for the great sacrifice they make, allowing him to spread Torah to the masses. Weekly sponsors. In honor of my first completed mesechta doing Daf Yomi, Mazel Tov. Art of the month, Refuah Shelamah for Yonatan ben Bracha, in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi Sai, here we are on Daf Ches, Geschmack Daf. Should you give your kids a gesunte Zetz, a smack in the face when they need it? Maybe not in the face, maybe some other places. I don't know. You're going to be surprised. Today, I guess the minhag is not to, and if you do, you go to jail. Let's see what the Gemara has to say about this. Omer Papa. Holding 4 lines down from Ches Amud Aleph on the top. Omer Papa. Man deshoda pisola dikla. If you take a piece of dirt, a clump of dirt, and you throw it at a palm tree, and it breaks the dates right over the tree, and it kills somebody. We have a little bit of here's the drawing. This guy takes a clump of dirt, throws it, boom, and it falls down and kills somebody. The Rebbe Virabbanon. So if you recall yesterday, we had a very, very similar thing in the Mishnah. We had a guy who was chopping wood, and a piece of the wood went flying and killed somebody. So this seems to be the same case, l'chayra. So this is Machlokes Rebbe Virabbanon. According to Rebbe, this is something that you go to Galus. According to Rabbanon, you don't go to Galus. So the Gemara Pshita, isn't that exactly what we learned in the Mishnah? Again, you're chopping wood, a piece of wood comes flying out of the axe, hits a tree. The tree has a bunch of heavy fruit on it, comes down and kills somebody. I think maybe Rashi, that's a kid, but at the end of the day, he killed somebody. About the same, no, here's a bigger chiddush. This is one power removed, because your power, remember we had a whole sug in Sanhedrin, I went to the park and I was doing koyach koyach, no, that was with the gravity. Okay, shot that thing with the potato launcher. So here we have koyach koyach. Your clump of dirt is your koyach. It hits the tree, and then something else takes over, the fruit takes over and kills somebody. I would think that's the force of a force. And Memela, you don't go to Galus for that. Kamash, well, you do. So if that's not koyach koyach, what is koyach koyach? Says Gemara, it's this case right over here. Check it out. He hit a piece of branch, and the branch hit the dates, and the dates hit the guy. So again, Chazara. That's koyach. Hit the branch. The branch is what hit the dates. So that's one power removed, according to Rabbi. When the Shada Pisa, he threw the dirt. Machayel Girman hit a piece of wood. Va'azal Girman Machayel Kavasa, and then that branch hit the dates. At the time in the dates, Va'azal Tamri Mikotel. It's cut off the dates, and the dates went and killed the person. That's the koyach koyach, according to Rabbi. Says the Mishnah, Hazarik Evin L'Shus Harabim V'Harag. Person takes a stone and blindly throws it into the Shus Harabim. So the Gemara says it's impossible that this is the case. Hare is a goyla. Why is that not a possible case? Because that would be amazing. If you take a stone, and you throw it into a crowded area and you kill someone, you say, oops, it was a mistake. It's not a mistake. That's amazing. So we have to see what the case is. A guy threw a stone. After he threw the stone, somebody stuck his head out the window, and the stone hit that person in the head. How is a potter? Then you're potter. So I got to tell you, Gishmak a joke. I told this to Yoshi. He was on the floor. I mean, I heard he was laughing like crazy. And he was so inspired by the joke that he said he wants to do some art. I said, you can't do art. We have other stuff that are more important, like this koyach koyach. He says, yeah, but you have to go Rahmana Liba Bay. I said, you're 100% right. Wherever your heart is, that's where you have to go. I see it's very choppy, the stream. Hope it's not a problem. So the joke was like this. I said it once before, but I want to add to the joke today. Today I'm being koined b'shinui. 4 people show up in Shemayim, and the bezin over there is sitting. They said, "Listen, we have too many people here. We can only accept people that have an extraordinary story, something different." So one guy says, "Yeah, I got a story to tell you." Says, the guy came to my house. He was robbing us in the middle of the night. So I got up. I heard him run away, and then I see him running down the block. So I said, you know what? It's a great opportunity for me to take my refrigerator, throw it out the window. I'll crush him. And that's what I did. The problem is, I had a heart attack. That's why I'm here now. So that's a crazy story. What's your story? I says, my story. Oh, I was jogging like I jog every day. I'm jogging by a building, and all of a sudden, crush. Refrigerator comes, pancake. Oh, that's crazy. Well, what's your story? He says, oh, my story. I was in the middle of robbing somebody, and all of a sudden, the guy I'm robbing wakes up. And I don't know what to do. I panic. So I jump inside his refrigerator. And now I want to add to the story. This old lady comes. She says, I have a story. I heard a big commotion. And what's going on? So I open up my window. I stick my window out the door. Stick my head out the window, and all of a sudden a refrigerator. Pack. That's mamish what the Mishnah says over here. So let's see what Yoshi did for his. You guys like the joke? It's gone. Sorry. Here's Yoshi's art for this story, especially for this story. Here's the guy with the defibrillator all the way on the left. He's the owner that had a heart attack. The Ganav is the guy in the icicle. He's got stuck there in the refrigerator. The other guy is flat like a pancake. The guy in the blue, he's the jogger. And then you have the old lady. They're all telling over the stories. So Nachamal. Somebody throws the refrigerator out the window. Somebody else, after it's in midair, sticks their head out and gets killed. So the guy that threw the refrigerator out the window is Potter. A person throws a stone into his own backyard. Do you have the right to throw a stone into your own backyard? Do you have the right to practice your your machine gun aiming in your backyard? Maybe. If the guy that got murdered had permission to go in there, goyla, you have to go to golas. If he has no business being in your backyard, you have all the right to do whatever you want in your backyard. Ain't a goyla. Because the Torah says this whole story when you're chopping the wood happened in the forest. Just like a forest, everybody has the right to be in there. So too, it has to be a situation where everybody has permission to go in. But that comes to exclude I should really try to scoot down a little bit. Maybe this thing. How do you get this thing down? I should know. I have one of these at home. Forget it. So when the guy doesn't have rishus to go in there, then you don't have to go to goals. So let's remember this Abishal. Abishal says, when you chop wood, why are you chopping wood? Because you feel like it. You want to. You need wood for your house. It's a rishus. I've called rishus. But that comes to exclude things that you're mechuyev to do. Things that you have a mitzvah to do. Yotza. You hear this? A father who hits his sons, he's mekayim a mitzvah, he's doing a mitzvah. And a rebbe who hits his talmidim, he's doing a mitzvah. Today, it's not acceptable. Today, I don't know that nishtana adayra is nishtana tfayim. I don't think so. But in society, we live in a society where it's not acceptable. I think Rabbeim took it to another extreme in a lot of cases. Even parents took it to another extreme. But the Torah talks about it. The Torah says, if you don't hit your kid, you hate him. So hitting was always part of society. It was a part of chinuch and a part of a father being mechanech his son and a rebbe being mechanech his kid. Shliach bezdin, what if a shliach bezdin is performing malchus on somebody, the guy dies? So these are three cases, Rabbi say, where if a father hits his son to the point where the son dies, a rebbe hits a talmud where the talmud dies, he doesn't go to galus. Why? Says Abishal, because he's mekayim a mitzvah. He's in the middle of doing a mitzvah. So of course, the brisker Rav, when he used to hit his kid, he said, I love you, I'm doing this out of love. Okay. So today, people don't want to hear about it. All bad things happen because of, I'm in Chicago, so I'll repeat it again, even though I probably just said it. There's a very famous psychologist, Baruch should give him a Refuah Shelamah. He's not doing so well, but back in the day, this was a while ago, I had this argument with him, and he said, listen, the reason why certain kids go off the derech, and the reason why all these bad things happen is because the parents hit the kids. I said, even like one time, 2 times? Yeah, even one time. So I said, who told me? He says, Revolba said, even Revolba says you're not allowed to. So this is the whole thing I said. So when I bought the book, Yisrael, it's a sefer, Yisrael Ubinyan B'Chinuch from Revolba, and he writes there beforish. He says that when are you allowed to hit your kid? When it's an extreme case. And what's an extreme case? When a mother comes home and the kids are jumping all over the bed and then this, and she can't calm down, so you give a few smacks, pop, pop, pop. So I said, this is the extreme case that he's talking about. Anyway, Ayin Sham in Zriya B'Vinyo, anybody wants the Ma'ar Makam, I can show it to you. And in Ali Shuri writes that there's two types of hitting. He brings the pasuk in Zechariah Yud Aleph pasuk Zayin, and basically there's 2 types of sticks. One is a stick of Chabala that you cause damage, and one stick is a stick of love. He goes into it over there. But it's not important to us because in our society it's just not acceptable. It's just not something that you do, and it's very frowned upon. And I guess the Mechachim say in our generation, the way the kids are they're brought up and the way society is, it just doesn't work anymore, whatever it is. Each in their own. I'm just saying over from the Gemara. I don't want you to have kindness in the Gemara. How does it say that you're allowed to? There's once the famous story in the Gemara. The Gemara brings it a few times, at least once, I should say, where the Gemara, we had it not so long ago, where a Rebbe was hitting a kid and he killed him. So he fired him. And then they looked around, they couldn't find another Rebbe to replace him. He was a great Rebbe, so they brought him back in. So that was the thing back in the day. Says the Gemara, L'Rishus Harabim. How could you throw a stone into Rishus Harabim, into public thoroughfare, throw a stone and say, oh, I was a shogeg? Mezadu, you're a real mezid. What happened was, he lived on the Rishus Harabim. You know, you had a house that faces the Rishus Harabim, you had a fence, and you wanted to knock down your fence, and you knocked down the fence, and one of the stones went into the Rishus Harabim. Not that you threw a stone in Rishus Harabim. Says Gemara, but that's still not a good excuse. You should have made sure that nobody's walking by. But so he says, he did it at night. Says Gemara, well, how does that help? You should have taken a flashlight and checked to see that nobody's there. He's breaking his wall into the garbage heap. What are we talking about? There's a lot of people that dray around in the garbage. Then you're a real pusheya. You don't go to golos. And if nobody ever comes there, and you decide to throw your dump truck full of stones in there, and it happens to be there's a guy there sleeping there, some homeless guy, so you're a real oinus, you're not a shayi. We're talking about a garbage heap that people relieve themselves at night. But nobody relieves themselves during the day. Not no one. 99% of the time, no one. And once in a blue moon, somebody uses it out of, there's an emergency. So he's not considered a pesheya. He's not negligent. Why? Because it's not something that people use during the day. But you're not a complete oines. There are sometimes people that come there and use it, so therefore you're not oines, but you're not a pesheya, and that's why you're shogeg and you go to goals. I said this a few times. I'll say it again because the Gemara talks about ashpa here. The Rambam in Pirush HaMishnayos in Pirkei Avos Perek Daled, I wrote it down. Perek Daled Mishnah Daled. He says, talks there about anova. What does it mean to be humble? So the Rambam says you should be a real shval ruach, and he brings a story. He says there's a chassid that was on a boat, and he was sitting in a position. He was it was a very humbling position he was in. And one of the non-Jews on the boat walked over to him and had to relieve himself. So he exposed himself to him and relieved himself on this chassid. And the chassid says, I never had such a happy day in my life. I was so happy that it didn't bother me, that I felt mushbal. I was a nothing, that this guy actually relieved himself on me. Says the Rambam, that's true anova. Okay, something to learn from it. So that's what we learned in the Mishnah, that when you throw the stone, and then the person makes himself available to get hit, then you're potter. If from the time that the stone left his hand, the stone, then the guy's head came out of the window, potter. So we're saying umatza, that the stone was first, then came the person. So matzah over here means it came first. Ramini, but has to fit with the other puzzle. It says matzah prat lematzui. Over here, matzah means that it came afterwards, not before, afterwards. What we're talking about is the achuzah. So a person gets Yerusha from his father, all the way from Yeshua, and he sells it. So he has the ability to redeem it. So the Torah says, V'sigi yadai, all of a sudden he came into money. All of a sudden he has money. Then he can redeem it. What if he had money set away when he sold it? Then he cannot redeem it. So it says, umatza prat lematzui. And not only that, what if you have a piece of real estate that's not a very good piece of real estate, but you had it at the time when you sold these de'achuzah? Don't try to sell your faraway real estate, in other words, your less valuable real estate, in order to redeem this de'achuzah. And don't try to sell the bad stuff in order to redeem the good stuff. In other words, matzah means you came into money later on. So matzah means later, not before. It's the opposite of what we're saying here. In other words, the word of matzah could go both ways depending on the pasuk. Over there, the word of matzah goes together with sigi yada, that all of a sudden you were able to get some money. My sigi yada mahash, that means now you got money. Av matzah now mahash, the word matzah means now on. So matzah dumi the matzah is similar to a forest. The forest was there before. What time is it, Rabbi Isai? 8:13. So we have 17 minutes. We want to try to make Meir somehow. Hazarik is 7. I see you checked out the Amud Beis to see this. So Abishal says that just like chopping wood is when you don't have to chop the wood, you just want to, you need some firewood. But if it's a mitzvah, like hitting your son, not. He said, who told you? Maybe the Torah is talking about a guy chopping wood for a mitzvah. Where do you have chopping wood that's a mitzvah? Think about it for a second. If I chop wood to build a sukkah, is that a mitzvah? What do you say?
Yeah.
You say yeah? What if I have to chop wood? I have to chop wood to build a sukkah. What if I found the wood? But that's for the shaking of the lulav. But this is like a hechsher mitzvah. Where do you stop? What if I bought a car so I could schlep my wood for the sukkah? So buying the car is also mitzvah? So let's see if it doesn't sound so good. I have bad news for you. Huh? Everything's for Hashem, but it's not the mitzvah of sukkah. Yeah, you eat to learn, you sleep to learn, I get it. But there's a mitzvah in it, but is it part of the mitzvah of sukkah? Maybe it's chopping wood for the mizbeach. How could it be a bigger mitzvah than that? And the Torah tells us that you should go to Golos in a mitzvah. So therefore, if you kill your son, then you should also go to Golos. That's the question. Who told you to differentiate between a mitzvah and a non-mitzvah? I just want to point out here, because a lot of times, until we get to sukkah again, but when we're learning sukkah, once in a while we have to mention Chavetz Chaim, when he got married a second time, so he built a sukkah. We always built a sukkah. And his new wife said, wait a minute, I don't like the sukkah over here. It should be over there. She didn't say anything. He took down the sukkah and rebuilt it. Then she came and she saw the sukkah and she goes, no, you're right. It shouldn't be over there. It should be over here. So he went and he rebuilt it. He took it down and rebuilt it. So in the Hebrew shir, somebody today said, Zivik Sheni, for Zivik Sheni, this is how you act. I said, yeah, you're right. Because what happens is, when let's say somebody has a kid when they're 60 years old, of course they're going to treat their kid differently when they're 25, 30. You become smarter, I'm going to do things differently. So yeah, if you get married again, so you say, all the mistakes I made with my first wife, I'm not going to do it with the second wife. I chop. But you get into a rut. You do the same thing. No, I told you I'm going to do it. You get into the same silly fights over and over, so it doesn't work in the first marriage. The second marriage, maybe you could look at it from another perspective. So says the Gemara, keeping the matzah chotov, lav mitzvah. What if you find wood? What if somebody gives you wood? You're not mekayim a mitzvah. Hashtanami lav mitzvah. So the Gemara says a very interesting thing. Yeah, you're right. Right now you don't have wood, and you have to chop wood for your sukkah, but that's not part of the mitzvah. Because if it was part of the mitzvah, then if you found wood, it would also be part of the mitzvah. But it's not a mitzvah if you find wood. So how does that apply to chinuch? It does apply. Why? It says in the Mishnah that if you're doing a mitzvah by hitting your son, you don't go to galus if he dies. Wait a minute. Maybe the whole chinuch, you hear this? Maybe chinuch is not a mitzvah. According to what you're telling me, chinuch is not a mitzvah. Because if chopping wood is not a mitzvah, why? Because if you found wood, then you don't have to chop it and it's not a mitzvah. So what if you have a kid that's perfect? None of us have those kids, but the neighbor has one of those kids. The perfect kid. No chinuch necessary. He's born, I'm serious, there are kids like that. They're born, zero chinuch. I don't think it's a big chachma. The chachma is to work on yourself and get better, etc. Okay, you have the perfect kid. So if that perfect kid, you shouldn't be mechanech him because he's already perfect. It's like finding ready-made wood for your sukkah. Hashanami lav mitzvah. So if you have a kid that you do have to be mechanech, maybe it's like you chopping wood to get to a certain point. It's not a mitzvah to be mechanech. Says no. Even if you have the perfect child, you still have a mitzvah once in a while to give him a smack in the face. That's what Gemara says. He's perfect. Poof. Why? What did I do? Nothing. This is for doing nothing. Rav Moshe Feinstein says because he is a perfect kid, but he's a little lazy. So you have to get him in line. I learned in the famous school in Yisroel back in the day. They used to smack over there a lot in Tashbar in Birevach, and I'll never forget. I watched the whole video today. They revamped the school. They don't hit anymore. They spoke about it. The Shmueli Unger, who's in the Hebrew share today, he also went to Tashbar, and he remembers all the rebbes that hit him. And I was walking down the hallway, minding my own business, and all of a sudden I got a whack in the back of my neck. And I saw stars. It was like I never got hit right in the back of the neck. I remember just seeing like what? He's like, you're not walking fast enough to mincha. That's what they're smacking for. This is what Rav Moshe Feinstein says. A father could give his son a little bit of to get him going. He's too lazy. He's on his the Nintendo and the Nintendos. The Game Boys. What are they called? The Xbox. Exactly, the Xbox. Well, why was I saying that? I have a much better reason, he says. Look at the pasuk. The pasuk says when a person comes, his friend, into the forest, the boy ayel. Nobody's forcing him to go into the forest. You could. It's rishos if you want to. So kedai mitzvah. And if you say it's an option not to go in, misagid l'ayel. Is there such a thing? You don't have to go in? Right here? No. Okay. So you're telling me that the word asher means that you have an option. So take the same word asher and throw in another part of the Torah. And over there it says a person that has an option. You're saying asher means option. Asher yitma v'lo yischata. A person who became tamei and he didn't become tahar. And he went to Beis Hamikdash. What happens if you tamei and you go to Beis Hamikdash? You get kares. So the asher means he has the option. So what about meis mitzvah? Meis mitzvah, you don't have the option. You have to become tamei if you find the mace. Right? Nobody's dealing with this dead person. You go ahead and you deal with it. You have to. So you're telling me that when the Torah says that you get kares if you go into Beis Hamikdash, it's only when you had the option to become tamei or not. What if you don't have the option? You must become tamei. In that case, maybe you're not chayiv kares. That's impossible. So Gemara So that's a question on the word asher. According to Rav, asher means you have the option. The what? The word tamei means I'm being medayik tamei in any situation, even when you have no option and you go into Beis Hamikdash, you still chayav kares. Wait, 3 more lines. No, but I need the word tamei for something else, not to tell me that if you're tamei maze and you have no option that you still chayav kares. I need it for something else. I need the word for something else. The what? Here. We have the concept called Tvul Yom. Tvul Yom. Here. Sorry. Let me go back. Tvul Yom is a person who's tamei and goes to the mikvah, and now he's tar. But he's quasi-tar. He's not 100% tar. He has to wait until it becomes dark. So here, take a look. He's purple. He's a Tvul Yom. And all of a sudden it becomes dark, and then it becomes green. He becomes tar. Just from it becoming dark at night. A Makkos Kippurim is very similar. Makkos Kippurim means he was a Tvul Yom. He went to the mikvah, it was night, but he has to bring a carbon the following morning. What about these two people, who go into the Beis Hamikdash? They're basically 90% tar. They went to the mikvah. They're just waiting for the nighttime. They go to the Beis Hamikdash. Are they chayiv kares or not? Yes. It says the Raz Chusik Kippurim. So if so, I already used the word tamiyah. You're right. I'm not learning from tamiyah. I'm learning from oid. That what? If a guy is a tamei mace, he saw a mace mitzvah and he becomes a tamei mace, he's still chayiv kares for going to the Beis Hamikdash. And now, turning of the daf. Turning of the daf. Let's see, the turning of the daf is very chashuv. Turning of the daf by Adar Global, one-stop shop for all your financial needs. By Kinnovations LLC, in honor of our sons Kalmo 12 and Yisroel 9. Rabbi say you're not going to believe it. I met them today in Chicago. Kalmo 12 and Yisroel 9 for learning Sanhedrin and Makkos with Reb Eli. Again, a big Yishukayach. One of them was wearing the MDY sweatshirt, the one the MDY yarmulke, a whole matzav. In honor of Adar Global Kinnovations. Kinnovations. True role models of how to support the daf and learning Yesher Koyach. Ikke de Masnelo. Aho. Some say this entire sugya, as far as back and forth, on this part. How much time do we have? Okay, let's see what we could do. It says in the pasuk that you should stop, you shouldn't plow, and you shouldn't reap tishbois. Now the pasuk actually is talking about Shabbos. Shabbos, you shouldn't do chavrisa and katsira on Shabbos. Says Reb Kiva, no. In fact, I believe the pasuk is talking about Shemitah. So then why does the Torah repeat it? Elo, afidu chorish alarev shvius, shenichnas shvius, v'katzish shvius, sheyotzlam tzay shvius. Crops that started out, or the charisha that started out on the 60th and goes into the 70th year, a crop that grew a third in Shemitah and went into the 8th year, then that even those are counted as Shemitah. Rishon says, no. Let's use the regular simple pshat in the pasuk. The pasuk is talking about Shabbos. Let's continue with the Shabbos theme. And just like you're not supposed to do charisha for no reason because you feel like it, avkotzer rishos. So when you're reaping, you're not allowed to reap things for no reason. However, yatsa ktira omer shu mitzvah. You hear the kiss from Hashem. We're talking about omer over here. However, you're permitted to reap the omer, which is here. You take this one's just a nice picture of omer. The night before, it's the second day of Pesach. You reap some of the barley and you bring it as a carbon, and that allows us to eat the new crop. Oh, so I'll mention it. I wasn't planning on, but why not? In America, people are slightly relaxed when it comes to Yashan. They're very, very makbid on Cholav Stam, but not so makbid on Yashan. Not everybody, but some places, which is a big shaila. Why? Because Yashan is a deraisa, Cholav Stam is not. What does Yashan mean? Even Bisman Hazeh, most Achroinim hold, most Poskim hold that Yashan is a deraisa. It means that you're not allowed to eat from the new crop until you bring the carbon omer or the second day of Pesach. I say this all the time. When I was a kid, I went to a pizza shop and asked them, is this Yashan? And some person in line said, Yashan, Chodesh Asim in Torah. Kids are people made fun of the whole concept, and they're slightly relaxed about it, and it's a big pellet. In Europe, and the reason I believe is, and this is what I saw brought down, in Europe was very, very hard to get Yashan. So they had to come up with a kula for Chadash, and there is a Bach that's Mekel, and that's pretty much it, only the Bach. So it's almost similar to what we have by the Seder, where a lot of people eat horseradish for maror, and they won't eat romaine lettuce, even though romaine lettuce is on top of the list. It's the number one maror in the Mishnah. It's not making it up. It's in the Mishnah. Number one, Mar is somewhere in the like third or something. I forgot already. We're learning Pesachim. And then also we found out that in Europe you couldn't get romaine lettuce in the middle of Pesach time, so they had to eat but it became so ingrained that this is what we eat. We do horseradish that romaine became usher. There's people that refuse to eat romaine because in the Haim we ate horseradish, but it's not true. The Haim they ate horseradish because you didn't have anything else. But romaine is better. You can't argue with the Mishnah. So that's what happens with, people forget history, forget that, hey, this is a serious isser. At least don't make fun of the people that are makbid on it. That's all I'm saying. And if you have a local pizza shop, try to push them to be makbid on it. Okay, we got to go to Ma'ariv. Talk about this all day. Omar Leah, Omer Rabban al-Rava. This is the same source that we said before, so it's very familiar to us. Who told you that we're talking about to plow your fields because you feel like it? I'm sorry. Maybe we're talking about specifically plowing your field for the Omer. So now if I ask you, now you guys are going to be smarter. Is it a mitzvah to plow your field to plant barley so that later on for Pesach I could reap the barley? The answer is, if you remember the Gemara before, you'll say no. That you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. If you found a plowed field, you're not allowed to plow on Shabbos for this lav mitzvah. So then the charish is not a mitzvah. We had a situation where a father hit his son and he died, and the shlich bezdin, what if he found a kid that's already mechunach? You don't have to hit him, so it's not a mitzvah to hit him. Hashtanami la mitzvah. So then the whole chinuch, the whole mitzvah, that's only a hechsher mitzvah to get him to a point to be mechunach. So no, even if a kid is completely obedient or whatever the word is, mechunach, nami mitzvah kaved, even smacking him up once in a while is also a mitzvah. And on that Ramesh said, it means if he gets lazy, give him a little. And then I said the story with the tashbar. I got a whack on the back of my neck. No, I don't have to come on to that. Reaping is similar to plowing. If you found a field that's plowed, you don't have to plow. If you say it's a mitzvah, if you found something reaped already, you don't have to reap. The mitzvah is to reap it and bring it as a carbon. What time is it? 10:30. If a father kills a son, he must go to Golos. And if a son kills a father, he must go to Golos. Everybody goes to Golos because of killing a Jew. And if a Jew kills them, like a slave, we'll see in the Gemara, then the Jew also goes to Golos. Chutz meger toshav. Ger toshav is somebody who accepts upon himself not to do avodah zarah. Does Rashi say over here, Shem is b'nei noach? Where does it say that? The ger toshav. So if a Jew kills a ger toshav, he doesn't go to Golos. But if a ger toshav kills a Jew, even b'shaygig, he dies. We have to kill him. Ger toshav and a goyla elo yedei ger toshav, and another ger toshav only goes to Golos if he kills another ger toshav. Ha'av goyla yedei ben v'amras yotzo ha'av amakis b'noi. If we're talking about a father who hits his son for chinuch, why does he have to go to Golos? We said he doesn't have to go to Golos. V'amras avagav the gomer mitzvah kovid. Sorry, the gomer, because we're talking about a kid that's completely behaved, and then the father hit him, so for that he has to go to Golos. We said even if he's completely behaved, if he hits him, he still has to go to Golos. He's teaching him how to earn a living. So he's teaching him how to be a carpenter. And he wasn't behaving in the carpentry, so he took the stick and he whacked him in the head. He went, boom, why didn't you listen to me? And he killed him. So he doesn't go to Golos. Why? Because he's doing a mitzvah. He's trying to teach him how to make a parnasa. So the Gemara, sorry. Says the Gemara, but then the Gemara asks a question. why should he go to Golos? The Gemara's answer is no. He's being mechanech him while he's teaching him how to do a parnasa. Says the Gemara, so what? That's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to teach your kid a parnasa. And if you kill him while you're teaching him that mitzvah, you're doing a mitzvah by teaching him, you shouldn't have to go to Golos. What about teaching your kid to be a rebbe, learning how to learn? So Rav Moshe Feinstein says teaching a kid how to learn Torah, to be a rebbe, to be a rav somewhere is also a type of parnasa. Says Gemara, what happened was the Gomerum Nasi Achrite. This kid already learned how to do something. He was already a lawyer. The father wanted to teach him a second profession. And then he killed him during that. For that you go to Galus. Let's just do one more sugi over here and then we'll try to run to my real quickly. If a son kills a father, he shouldn't go to Galus. Why? Because it says makin nefesh. It tells you it excludes the son and the father. The what? Just remind Oilam real quickly. Okay, so it goes like this. On the right side, you have Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says chenek is more severe than sayif. When a son kills a father, he's over on two averos. Not hurting a father, for that you get chenek, and killing a human being, you get sayif. So if a person is chayif two things, what do you typically give him? The worse. The what? That's right. How do you know? Because you learned Sanhedrin. Unbelievable. So you get the stronger one. You get chenek. The problem is there's no galus on chenek. It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah you go galus for chenek. You go to galus for saif. But if we go to the right side to Tanakama says that hereg, saif is more chomer than chenek. So in this case, the son gets two. Chenek and saif. Which one should we give him? Saif. Saif, there is galus for saif because the Torah says that any murder goes to galus. Says Gemara, let's see inside. So since he gets sayif, for that he could get a kapara, he could go to galus. Shigas chenek lo nidl kapara, but not chenek. But according to Rabbanon, that the sword is more severe than choking. So if you kill a father, the shoygeg is by mistake. He was supposed to get saif. So for chenek you don't get a kapara, for saif you do. So it depends if you're Shimon or Chachama. No, we're talking about he didn't kill his father. He gave him a wound. If he did it on purpose, he dies. So he should go to Galus, even though his father is alive and well, but because he has a hole in his arm, if he did it on purpose, he would get killed. So since he didn't die, he should go to Galus. No, you only go to Galus if you kill somebody. Rabbi Sai, have a good Moed, have a good day. Thank you for coming, everybody.